Hello everyone! Welcome back to this workshop. My name is Savvy and today you will learn how you can feminize your voice, masculinize your voice, or make it sound androgynous, or really bring your voice to whatever you want it to be like. So in today's class we'll talk about some methods, some exercises, some techniques, and 4 people will be able to move up on stage to work on their voices directly with me for a few minutes. But before we get started, I do need to make some things clear. When it comes to voice, we have to be really careful. We want to, of course, be drinking water to keep the voice hydrated. Generally 10 to 15 minutes before doing any voice work. Why is that? Well, that is because when you do drink water, it does not hydrate the vocal folds. The vocal folds are down the trachea, which is the pipe that, is used for breathing air. If that water would go down there, you would have a really bad time. Sometimes it happens. But this is not what usually happens. So the hydration process will happen through the blood flow in the bloodstream. So be sure to drink a little bit in advance so that your body has the time to properly distribute that water and hydrate your voice properly. With that being said, certain substances are known to be dehydrating to the voice. That includes alcohol, coffee, and smoking, of course. But if you have to do any of these things, you still can do those. Just maybe try to avoid doing the voice training exactly around that same time. If you do have a coffee in the morning, prefer doing the voice work in the evening, or vice versa. If you have a smoke in the evening, maybe doing it before smoking is a good idea. Another thing is spironolactone and hay fever medication and other medications perhaps that you might want to check your the little papers, the instructions that comes with the medication. Some medications might be dehydrating to the voice, just like these other substances I mentioned before. So, of course, do not stop taking medications that you were prescribed. Please keep taking them. Just make sure that if you do take these medications that you try to work around it. Stay properly hydrated, and maybe, if possible, take those medications in the evening right before sleep so it does not impact your voice during the day. Now, with that being said, that's pretty much it when it comes to vocal hygiene. Although there's one more thing, and that will be that doing some vocal warm-up is really important. That is because when you use your voice, you are using some parts that are muscle-based. And so those muscles also need to be stretched, just like if you are going to run a marathon. You're not going to run without stretching your legs. You're going to really run maybe like a few meters and then be tired or have a problem with your legs. So voice is no different. We want to be stretching it a little bit, warming it up by doing some warm-ups, which we'll be doing in a few minutes. But before we do this, let's talk about what is voice exactly. So voice is, well, very simply put, something that we can break down in 3 categories: the power, the source, and the filter. The power stands for how much air we can output and use in our voice. So if you push air up the trachea, which is this tube, you eventually reach this part, which is the voice box. The voice box we also call the larynx. For those of you who have a Adam's apple, you can put your hand on your neck, and even if you don't have an Adam's apple, we all have that cartilage here on our neck. And behind the cartilage that we call the Adam's apple, we find the voice box, which we call the larynx. And so within the larynx, you'll find little flaps of flesh and ligaments and stuff. And so these close and open really quickly, a few hundred times per second for some pitches. And as they vibrate, thanks to the airflow that we provide to them, they create a source sound. Now, that source sound is a wide range of frequencies that will then move up and bounce around in all of this space, which we call the vocal tract. Now, the vocal tract is kind of like akin to the size of a resonant chamber in an instrument. Think like a guitar. A guitar wouldn't have its strings properly resonate if it wasn't for its big body. The big body of the guitar allows for the sound to bounce around within it. The same is true for our voices. We have all of the space, which is the nasal cavity, the nose space, the oral cavity, the mouth space, and the pharyngeal space, which is, the pharynx, which is at the back of the nose and of the mouth. And so all of these spaces can be modified in shape and size in some ways, and by changing these sizes and spaces, we basically filter out the source sound. So again, how does voice function? We push air up, it sets the vocal folds in motion, they vibrate from bottom to top, and as they vibrate, they create a sound that we can then filter out with the vocal tract by changing its size and its shape. So, I'm not here to tell you you have to go for a hyper feminine voice or
You have to go for a hyper masc voice.
no, I'm here to tell you what are the biological things that tend to modify a voice and create that dimorphism in terms of how we perceive gender in voice. So very simply put, what does that? Well, the simple answer is testosterone, as you might have guessed already. Testosterone does three main things to your voice. What are these things, you might ask? Well, very simply put, testosterone does three things. First of all, it will cause the Adam's apple, which is otherwise really high up there and rather small. It will cause it to become bigger and to drop lower. So,
By doing so already, without changing my pitch or my vocal weight, I already have like a much darker, more hollow voice, right? So that's the first thing that testosterone does. It makes the vocal tract bigger, which creates this darker sound. Then the second thing that testosterone does is that it makes the vocal folds that are otherwise vibrating really fast, it makes them longer. And as they become longer, it becomes easier for them to vibrate slower. And as they vibrate slower, they can produce lower pitches. And now the third thing that testosterone does, and that's across the entire body in most people, and that is that it will cause the muscle mass to increase. And so if the muscle mass increases in the rest of the body, it can also be involved in the voice by itself. And so just like that, I went from a femme voice to a masc voice.
by dropping my larynx,
Ow! By going lower in pitch, oh! And by making my vocal folds that are otherwise really thin, really soft, engage more muscle and achieve this really boomy, textured masculine voice.
and this is pretty much it. This is how we modify voice, or at least we tend to work on these three axes, which is the vocal tract size, the pitch, and the vocal weight, which will determine how soft or how heavy our voice is. Now, with that being said, let's get into the next part that I was mentioning before about vocal hygiene and vocal warm-ups. So what are vocal warm-ups? Why do we do them? First of all, when it comes to voice, as I mentioned before, we have vocal folds and they're partially muscle-based. So we gotta treat them the same. Let's warm them up a little bit. So to do this, we'll do basically a softie, a semi-occluded vocal tract exercise. That's a big mouthful word to say, hey, let's warm up the voice. The point of the softies will be to restrain here the airflow and the sound a little bit at the level of the mouth or the nose, depends on what sound you do. What this will cause is it will create a greater pressure, which we call the intraoral pressure, so the pressure inside the mouth. And this pressure will basically fight against the pressure from our lungs. I mean, you don't necessarily think about it, but when you use your voice, you always breathe out. Like, hello, hello. In theory, yes, you could speak by breathing in, hello, hello. But most people don't do this, right? Oof, I think I coughed a little bit here. All right, so when it comes to warm-ups, let's do some gentle sounds. We'll do an O sound, a Z sound, and a lip trill. All of these have different pressure levels, so let's give this a try. You can all mute yourselves for this, and what I'll do is I'll go first, then we all try this together. Sounds good? Let's give this a try. All right, I go first. Oh. Let's try this together in 3, 2, 1. Oh. All right, very good. Now let's try a different sound, this time the word Z as in the word zoo. Let's give this a try. I go first. Let's try this in 3, 2, 1. All right, very good. And let's do last sound. This time, this is going to be a lip trill. So this sound is just having your lips flap, like brrr, very simple, very easy sound to do. So I go first. And let's try this all together in 3, 2, 1. All right, very good. Good job. Now, please, for those who are unmuted, mute yourselves again, and we'll move on to the next part of this workshop. So, for those who aren't yet aware, I get to have people on stage, 2 people who want to learn to masculinize their voices, and 2 people who want to learn how to feminize their voices. If you want to make your voice sound more masculine, because I'm going to start with trans masc today, please raise your hand, jump in place, or use the hand emoji. All right, so I saw here monologue onion. You've never been on stage before, have you? All right, then come up on stage. Come on, come on. Everyone give a big round of applause to monologue onion. Woo! All right.
There.
Hello, what's up?
Hello. It's going good.
All right, glad to hear this. I'm going to set this timer up now. Let's go. So, Adin, very first time in one of these workshops, or have you been around already?
In and out. I've been to a lot of Jessa's workshops.
That's very good. Awesome. So, have you been able to do some voice work since then on your own? Have you been able to use your masc voice or whatever voice you went for?
Not really. I have a decent amount of like just general practice of, the exercises, but I haven't really been able to do much.
Okay, that's totally fine. Let's try this together then. So you already know what kind of practices we do to darken the voice, to increase the size of the vocal tract, to achieve a darker sound is the first step to go for. And then the next step is going for like the lowest pitch that we can comfortably find and trying to go for more vocal fold mass, which might be more difficult if you do not if you haven't had the testosterone exposure, for example, that I had, right? Like I can go like
impossibly low and really thick and heavy.
Because testosterone was a part of my voice. So even if you can't achieve that dark or that low of a pitch, with practice you can still achieve something that can be quite meaningful in terms of how you can warp your voice to sound more masculine. So let's see what we can pull off here today. First of all, I want to hear a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest pitch. Give it a try.
Okay. Something like that.
Oh, okay, around a 3, that's pretty good. Awesome. Oh, I have to ask, are you familiar with like music theory at all? Just like pitches, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, which is this was surprisingly on the octave. So yeah, are these things something that mean something to you, or you're like, what are these letters?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm a
that's
vocalist.
awesome. Okay, hell yeah, that's awesome. All right, so that should make things easier. In that case, if you're familiar with these pitches, could you tell me like what your lowest pitch is, or I don't know if you've really bothered monitoring it per se, but just gonna be helpful to kind of like know and gauge your progress as you keep practicing with your voice. See if you can crack the low F3, E3,
Yeah.
D sharp 3, D3, etc. So is that something you've been able to do so far, or not so much?
Not so much, just because it fluctuates depending on the day and the circumstances and such, but
Okay, gotcha. All right, so then in that case, we'll move right on to practicing by reading some sentences. So, let's try this together. I want you to first read that sentence in your current voice. Just normal, just read it how you normally speak.
that mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Okay, around here, that mad brat sat on the flat mat. Da 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 da. Okay, so this time you went down to E3. So you can already go lower than what you've done on the slide before. That's already good to know. So E3 is a potential pitch that we can reach for. Maybe lower if we push it further. All right, that mad brat sat on the flat mat. All right, now we're going to try to do the same kind of sentence. This time we're going to do it monotonously. So instead of that mad brat sat on that flat mat, we're going to try to go, that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Okay, consistently at E3, very good. So we're already consistently at your lowest. That's awesome. I mean, as far as I know, maybe you can go lower. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. So that's very good. Now, the next step we're going to do is going for something a bit darker. Instead of going for a that mad brat sat on that flat mat, we're going to try to increase the size of the vocal tract.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
By going darker, we can achieve, well, by going bigger, we can achieve this darker sound. So in that case, I must ask you, have you already practiced doing some vocal tract exercises like this to increase the size?
A little bit, yeah.
All right. Has it yielded any result, or you're still kind of like, without guidance, that's difficult? Or kind of like, have you done a bit of practice with it and found some...
I think so. Like, I think I can do it.
All
I've done
right,
it enough.
then let's try it together. See if the practice so far has helped you make it more yours. So let's try this out. I want you to say this sentence: pat that cat on a whisper. So just say, pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Beautiful. And now you notice this pat that cat is really bright. We're going to try and go for a darker version of this. So let's say just the word pat, and we're going to make pat sound a lot darker. Pat, 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 that cat. Try it out.
Okay. Pat, 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 cat.
That's awesome. So you went from pat down to pat, pat, that cat. Okay. Now you might have noticed that your Adam's apple or just your larynx went lower. You could have had your hand on your neck to kind of like monitor this. You can do this on your own later. But what matters is the sound that comes out. Really bright. Pat that cat. Oh, pat that cat. Really dark. And so with that dark sound, we're going to try to just read the sentence. Pat that cat. Still in a whisper. Pat that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Try it out.
Ooh, I'm losing it.
Oh, it's okay. I think your mic is also not letting the sound come through, perhaps. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Did you do the whisper, or...?
No, I'm just trying to find it.
Oh, take your time. Take the time.
That brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, very good. However, that mad brat sat on a flat mat. I can hear there's some kind of phonation happening, so perhaps you're still stressing the whisper a bit too much. I would recommend you take the word that by itself, just like we did with pat that cat, but instead you do that mad brat, and then you do that. Just practice on that first word. Make that sound really dark. Yes. Very good. And now as we keep that same big size, we try to go and close the vocal folds again. So the pitch you did E3. Let's try this. That mad brat. That mad brat. Try it out.
Um, could you do that again?
Sure thing. 3 steps you want to listen for. First, the dark whisper. Thought. Then the dark breathy sound, which is like a mix between the whisper and the full phonation. So into breathy. So you can both hear the pitch and still hear the whisper part, which is going to be a tell of how dark your voice is. And then final step. Probably close the vocal folds. You can tap it a little bit like
dot mod brat.
all right. So the exercise again. Try it out. Yeah, that's good.
You get this like kind of hollow dopey sound. And then try to read with this. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, very good.
That mad brat.
It kind of moved around a little bit like
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
so it kind of got brighter, darker at times. But let's compare this
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
to how you would read it in your normal voice. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Try to like a back and forth between the two. Give it a try.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Ooh, that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, not as dark as what
I
you've done so
can't.
far, but from that, well, you didn't do like a
That mad brat.
but you went for like a that mad brat into a that mad
Yeah.
brat. So like there's a small shift, but that's okay. All right, but that's something for you to practice on your own time and see what you can do with this. Although, one big thing I have to tell you about the darkness exercise that you might have not have done properly until now is that as you went darker, that thought, you kind of had this kind of like almost breathy sound that happened. I think that's mostly you stressing out your voice too much. It's always preferable to go for something that's not the darkest sound that you can do, but instead something that's dark-ish enough and that you can then sustain more easily and then maybe work your way lower and lower further down the line. I also recommend that you practice with, monotonous pitches. So it's just like keeping one straight pitch the entire way through, because this allows you to hear discrepancies when it comes to your vocal tract suddenly shrinking or suddenly expanding. So, for example,
That mad
brat
sat on that
flat mat, right? Like it's easier to hear than if you did
that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
with the pitch moving around. It makes things a bit harder to hear. So isolate the components of voice, keep practicing at it, make sure the whispers are not too tight and too like squeezed, and you should be more than good to get started. Also, your lowest pitch that you've done so far is E3. Try to see if you can go lower. Try to practice, with like a pitch monitor. See how far down you can go in pitch. You being a vocalist, I'm sure you might surprise yourself with some practice that is more dedicated towards lower pitches. So I hope that has been helpful for you, Monologue Onion. And I wish you well in your voice work. I hope to see you around.
Thank you.
I want to give a big round of applause to Monologue Onion. Woo! All right. Now, next up on stage, I want to see someone who wants to learn how to feminize their voices. Same thing, jump in place, raise your hand. And Queen Goose, you're so brave and so much in front of the stage. Have you already been on stage before? No? All right. Then come up on stage. Come on. All right. Everyone give a big round of applause to Queen Goose. Woo! Oh, you are one small snake. Sorry.
Hold on, let me
You
get
are
my
snail
mic.
shaped. Okay, take your time.
Okay, I got noise suppression off. We should be good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, starting the timer. And now, all right, hello, Queen, Goose, Queen? What do I call you?
You can just call me Goose.
All right, nice to meet you, Goose, Snake, Goose. Very strange, but all right, let's... No comment on the snake. So, welcome up on stage. Have you already been in one of these workshops before?
Yeah, but I've never been on stage before.
All right, welcome on stage then. Have you been doing some practice of your own so far, or kind of like blindly practicing with some of the advice you were given?
Yeah, I've been like practicing and stuff.
All right, that's
But
awesome.
I have some
Mhm.
difficulties and I need help.
Would you be able to pinpoint what difficulties you have? I mean, like, you've been around a little bit, so you're familiar with, like, vocal tract size, you're familiar with, like, vocal weight and with pitch.
Yeah.
So, with having all of this knowledge, at least theory-wise, would you say that you know where your weakness lies in terms of voice?
Yeah. I feel like I feel like resonance could be better, and then also I'm really quiet when I'm like in fem voice.
Okay, very good. Would you feel comfortable sharing with me what your fem voice sounds like so far?
Yeah, like give me, hold on.
All right. I also want to hear how you set up your voice. I mean, depends on how, conscious, self-conscious you are about this, but I would appreciate hearing like the steps that bring you to your fem voice so I can hear if you're doing everything right.
It's really not that much different. Like I'm doing it right now. It's really not that much
Mm.
different. I don't change pitch like at all.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can hear it. Like, it's really not that much different. It's really not that much different. It's really not that much different. So yes, your voice is definitely brighter as a result. It might have like a little bit too much vocal fold mass, right? Like, I might expect something that sounds a little bit softer for a pitch like this if you want to have like this smaller size. So okay, that's very interesting. And I can also understand why you struggle to project your voice to be louder, because if you project your voice here to be louder, you're very likely going to increase the vocal weight and make your voice sound heavier and probably leaning more androgynous or masculine if you push it really far. So, okay, what's the pitch that you're speaking at first? Oh, and do you have an objective to reach for a lower pitched fem voice, or do you not really
Yeah,
care much?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of chilling with the lower pitch. I'm not really trying to go super high.
Alright, you're kind of like chilling with the lower pitches. You're not trying to go super high. Gotcha. Alright, so if you're gonna if you're gonna go for lower pitched fem voices, I must say it's going to be a little bit more difficult than fem voice for two reasons. The first reason is, well, if you're a masc voice, quote unquote, your current behaviored voice, where it is it's really close to your fem voice. And so because they're so close, it's going to be hard to tell your brain that your voice sounds fem, because you kind of expect a big discrepancy between like your masc voice and your fem voice. I mean, maybe you're not doing a super masc voice. Go on.
My mass voice is different than
It's different from what you're doing?
Yeah, this is like the lazy version of the fem voice.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
What does your masc voice sound like, if that's not too much to ask?
It sounds like this.
Yeah, alright, so I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
not great.
okay.
Hey,
Then,
everybody,
then,
it's critical. Yeah, I got that.
hey everybody, it's critical.
I don't know how
yeah,
low critical is.
It's hard to work with that. It's very difficult.
Okay. Gotcha. So, sorry for assuming your fem voice. So then in that case, you already have quite some range difference. The other thing that is difficult with fem voice, aside of the dysphoria or being able to perceive the voice as sounding fem enough, is that lower fem voices require like a different kind of skill set. I mean, with higher fem voices, in terms of pitch, it's really easy to stay brighter and to stay softer, whereas like lower pitches, well, you kind of have pitches that are a lot more adjacent to what your masc voice could do. So there's a non-null chance that you end up, making those pitches sound a little bit too heavy, or that you might like allow your voice to drop a little bit darker just because, well, your brain is lazy. I mean, not just yours, mine is too. It's just a human thing of we go for the easier thing. And so if you don't have your focus on your voice all the time, it's going to be difficult to, keep that behavior up of having a really small vocal tract and a softer voice. So the direct advice I have for you here is not to go for a higher pitch. I think the pitches that you have here for a lower fem voice is more than fine. I would perhaps like to hear a little bit of if you're speaking really low in pitch, you might want to sometimes go a little bit higher just for like intonation or for like expressing emotions, right? As long as you end up back on this like low floor of pitch, it's gonna be good to like be using some of these higher pitches to add that color, to add that intonation, that emotion. That's just one thing I would say about pitch. But the main thing for you will be to reduce the vocal weight, to go for a softer sound. So let's try just that. I want you to give me a read. Give me a read on that first sentence up here. Oh, do you see the board, by the way?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, very good. Oh, there we go. My cursor
That
wasn't
one?
working. Yes. So up here,
Okay.
I want you to try to give me a read of that sentence in your best femme voice attempt.
Okay. Shit.
Give it a try.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Good. So, around here in pitch C3, that's really low. That mad brat sat on a flat mat. So you can hear it kind of like sounds a bit buzzy because it has a bit too much vocal mass, right?
The buzz.
The buzz,
Yes.
exactly. You know it. So what do? We try to push our voice a bit less. So first, I want you to mimic after me here. Let's try this in your mask voice. Can you go back to your mask voice like,
Oh, big old mask voice.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So,
I want you to say repeat after me.
that mad brat.
That mad brat.
Great. And now we're going to say exactly the same pitch, but we're going to try to make it as quiet as possible. So from
That mad brat.
to that mad brat. Like a really soft version of that. Give it a try.
Okay. That brat.
That's awesome. Now let's take the pitch a little bit higher. Still really soft. That mad brat. Give it a try.
That's mad brat.
Careful here. You might have noticed that mad brat. You kind of fixed it on the brat here, but you got it a little bit louder. You want to try and keep that same loudness, which is really you keeping like a softer voice and a quieter voice. Both of these things don't necessarily have to happen together at the same time, but it can be easier to practice like softer voices with less volume. We'll talk about how you can increase your volume later, but for now, that mad brat. You can try it again. That mad brat. Really loud, and then try to go. That mad brat. Try it out.
That mad brat. That.
Oh, okay. I only heard the that. That's good. That mad brat. Okay, so really soft, really gentle here. And now all we want to do is go back to making the voice brighter. So, that.
Oh, the whisper thing?
Yes. From dark
Okay.
that to bright that. Very good. Now pay close attention to how you say your that. Either you say that, all of your air at once, or that. Much slower. And by pushing less air, you can help your vocal folds stay thinner and give you a softer sound. So that really soft, bright that. Try it out. All right, very good. And then from here, let's close the vocal folds again. That was a D3. That. Try it out.
That.
Yes. Yes. And now from here, that mad brat.
That mad brat. No, not good.
No, it wasn't that at all. I mean, it did get a little bit thicker, a little bit louder, but it was still on the softer side. Do you want to give it another try?
Yes.
All right, go for it.
That mad brat.
Yes, that sounds so good. That mad brat. Now, what's happening here is you have creak happen. That mad brat. Now, it's not necessarily a sound that is bad or whatever, but it is a sign that you're pushing so little air that the vocal folds now kind of start to crackle. That mad brat. Because there's not enough air, they kind of result to a more closed position than if you had more air here. That mad brat. That is a sign that you're pushing very little air, but that you're also closing the vocal folds, which is good, and that your vocal folds are really soft. So from that, you could very gently increase the weight, very gently increase the airflow to transform that mad brat into a that mad brat. Still keeping that soft sound. Give it a try.
Okay. That mad brat.
Yes, that's very good. And now you're still very soft. You're also a little bit louder than just the that mad brat. So that mad brat. Now it's not yet a perfect sound, but it is getting there. And now from here, let's just try to read the sentence normal-ish. So that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Give it a try.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, that's very good. That mad brat was a bit darker here. That mad brat sat in the fly mat. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, here. So okay, how does this feel so far? Because like this to me is already like a much more polished version of your voice from before, which is now a lot softer, but it still sounds like loud enough. Now, one thing that you might wonder is, how do I make this louder? And for this, you basically want to find that creak again and then push more air through so that you eventually achieve a louder voice by pushing more air and closing the vocal folds more. So, that mad brat sat on that flat mat, right? Kind of like juggling between closure and airflow at the same time, kind of like engaging those two, so that you don't rely necessarily.
That is really hard.
I know it's going to be quite hard. That sounded really good. That is really hard. That was really good sounding though. But the other part is, unfortunately, lower fem voices are hard to produce loudly, and most people out there do not use a low fem voice in day-to-day life. I mean, these people exist, but their voices can vary a lot in terms of gender perception between androgyny and feminine voices. And I mean, I say this knowing a bunch of cis women who even have those really low voices. And sometimes I'm wondering, is this like an androgynous voice or masculine voice or whatever? Because they really push that voice really loud. So there's, of course, a lot of different ways to have a low femme voice. Like, I can think of the actress Shori Akshtalu. She played in The Expanse, like this TV series. Like, that's a really good example of like how low you can go and how you can bring this voice quite loudly. But yeah, I would say in terms of brightness, you're doing pretty well. I mean, you might want to have a bit more stability, but here, learning how to soften up your voice whilst slowly making it louder and still hanging on that softness is what got your voice to sound a lot more leaning femme. And then the next thing would be, don't shy away from high pitches, you know? even like the lowest fem voices will sometimes go to higher pitches to get their points across. And it will not necessarily make you sound, hyper feminine or sound like a Disney princess. Just having a few high pitches here can't hurt. And it can make you more audible to people as well, because we tend to hear higher pitches as louder than what they actually are. So I hope that has been helpful for you, Goose. Any questions?
Okay, yes. Do you guys do like VODs? Do you guys save the VODs somewhere?
Yes,
Or
they are saved and they're uploaded on the Trends Academy VODs YouTube channel. Although we have a bit of a backlog, so there might be a bit of a delay before this one comes out.
because I'm gonna forget stuff. So
It's okay. Just hang out around the workshops, and I'll be answering your questions if you have any in the audience, maybe at the end. Okay? All right. Everyone give a big round of applause to Queen Goose. Woo! Go Queen indeed. Queen slay. All right. Anyways, next up on stage, I want to see someone who wants to make their voices sound more masculine. If you want to make your voice more masculine, jump in place, raise your hand. Okay, we got a bunch of people. I think I saw you jump first here. Devil person, am I saying this correctly?
Yeah, you're saying it right.
Have you already been on stage before?
I've been here once. This is my second
On
time.
the stage?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen some people who have not had their chance to be on stage. Would you mind letting your place for them who have not yet had any help on their voices?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'm sorry, but I'll be answering some questions if you are around the end of the lesson. Okay, who else wants to go up on stage and make their voices more masculine? All right, so, Kit Kat over here, yes? Have you been on stage before? Nope. All right, come up on stage. Come on, come on. Everyone give a big round of applause to Kit Kat. Woo! All right. Hello there, Kit Kat. All right.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome. Oh, hi. You already bring some darkness to your voice, so very good. You've been doing some work.
I haven't been on stage and I'm scared.
Okay, it's totally fine. Don't worry. They are just figments of your imagination. They do not exist.
Don't make me schizophrenic now.
Okay, too soon, too soon. It's fine. You're gonna do great. Okay, so, first time on stage, first time in the workshops all together? Okay, very good. So are you familiar with the terms that we use here, such as vocal tract size, vocal weight, and pitch? Are these terms familiar to you?
Not really.
Not really? All right, let's talk about them then. So, what makes a voice masculine? It's the exposure to testosterone. Okay, that's not the only thing. There's, of course, social things like intonation and, prosody and stuff like that. But when it comes to, biology, we tend to hear that there's a huge shift in voices when testosterone impacts the voice. So, let's see, what are these things? The first thing will be that masc voices tend to have a much bigger vocal tract. I was mentioning before that the vocal tract size is kind of akin to how the resonant chamber of a guitar is, right? Like, if you look at a guitar, you have this really big body, right? You'd be wondering, why do I not have only the strings? And that is because you need the body for the strings to create a sound that will then resonate and bounce around within it to create that warm sound. Similarly, think about the sound that you hear when you use a ukulele. It's a much smaller body, so a ukulele will have this sound that is much brighter because it has a much smaller body. It will emphasize the smaller frequencies, so the higher frequencies. And if you have a really big body for the guitar, then it's going to emphasize the lower frequencies more. The same is true for our voice. Yes, we have a form of instrument, if you will. So if we have this instrument, let's see how we can modify it. All right. So what I'll have you do is take this sentence, pat that cat, and do it on a whisper. Can you give me a pat that cat?
Pat that cat.
That's very good. Now, as you notice, you do pat that cat. It's a very small, bright whisper. Pat that cat, a lot more feminine leaning. And so what we want to do is make that pat that cat sound a lot more dark. So we do the following. Pat, 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 pat. Give it a try.
Huh?
All right.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to try this one again?
Yes, please.
Okay. So let's do a call and response thing. So I do a sound and you mimic right after. Pat.
Pat.
Pat. Pat. Pat.
Pat. Pat. Pat.
Yes. Let's see how far we can go. Pat. 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 Pat.
Pat. Pat. Pat. Pat.
Very good. Now as you do this, pat, 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 what I want you to do is take your hand and put it gently on your neck. What I like to do is I have my index finger right below my chin on the neck, and my pinky finger is right on the collarbone. And so as I do this, I kind of have like each finger is kind of like a little mark that helps me track where my larynx is. And so as you do this, pat, 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 with your hand on your neck, try to feel for your Adam's apple there. Give it a try.
Pat. 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 Pat.
Yes, very good. Pat, 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 question mark.
I didn't hear the last part, so I was confused.
Yeah, it's okay. But did you feel for the Adam's apple that moved down? I mean, I know it's gendered Adam's apple, so let's just say the larynx. Did you feel that the cartilage of your larynx moved down?
Yeah.
That's very good. So as you've heard that sound go darker, pa, 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 you also felt with your hand, pa, 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 your larynx drop lower. And as it dropped lower, it created a bigger vocal tract. That's how the whisper gets darker and deeper. Pat, that, cut. So now let's try to go back let's try to jump from a really bright pat, to a really dark pat. Try that.
Could you repeat that?
Let's go from a really bright pat to a really dark pat. So from pat, and then you remember how it felt to have the larynx all the way down, how it sounded like pop, pop, pop. And you try to go from pat, pat, directly to the dark one. Give it a try. Okay, very good. So you went from pat to pat. All right, without doing any steps in between, by the way. Pa, 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 pa. So that's a really powerful tool to have. That's awesome. Good job. Now, next up, I want to use that bigger space and try to see if we can hold it there a little bit. Pa, 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 pa.
Just try to keep the whisper down here. Pat, that, God.
Do I say the sentence or?
Just mimic after me.
Pat, that, God.
Pat. That. God.
Very good. They have this really dark pat that cat. Compare it again to the bright version of it. Pat that cat.
Pat. Pat that cat.
Whisper again. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Pa, 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 pa. And we go.
Pat, that, God.
Pat that cat.
Beautifully done. And now, let's try to read that sentence up here and say,
Pat, that, God.
and we just say, still in a whisper,
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
yes, sounds beautiful. And now, the next part, and not the last, not the least, is to bridge from that whisper that's really dark and big to a
To a dark, full phonated sound.
So for this, I want to hear what's your lowest comfortable pitch that you can do. Give me like a slide from like your lowest to your highest, from your highest to your lowest. Oof, okay, so let's try this. Oh,
Ooh.
ooh. Can you hold that low pitch again?
Ooh.
Ooh, wait till you go up. Ooh, shooting up. Okay, go. Let's try this. Right after me. Oh,
Ooh.
oh.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
He went lower than me here. Oh, let's keep that pitch again. Oh,
Ooh.
oh.
Ooh.
Yes, and let's keep it here. Oh, D sharp 3, that's really solid. Oh, again. Oh,
Ooh.
you're a bit higher. Oh, a little bit lower. Oh,
Ooh.
okay, you're going higher. No. Oh, oh. Again.
What?
Okay, not quite. It's all right.
Lost me.
It's all right. So let's go back to the dark whisper here.
Mhm.
Remember how we did this?
That mad brat.
After me.
That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Good catch. And now,
That mad brat.
from whisper to breathy to full voice. Did your voice not come through? Perhaps?
No,
Voice suppression?
How to do it?
Okay.
I've never done this, so I don't know how to do that.
It's okay. We go from a whisper to a breathy sound to a normal phonation. Just how we are speaking is normal phonation. What we did during the practice so far
Is speaking a whisper.
with the vocal folds fully open. And now we have this weird middle ground, which is the breathy sound. You hear both the whisper. And you also hear the full phonation part. Right? So we want to have those 3 steps. Whisper. And now you hear this
Dark sound.
from that dark whisper. So, mimic after me.
That mad brat.
Brat.
Good. And now,
That mad
Brat. Brat.
Brat.
you didn't quite close the vocal folds here.
Brat.
Try it again.
Brat.
Yes, that's the right idea.
That's my brat. And then you hold that sound here. Brat. And then just say, that mad brat.
That mad brat.
All right, very good.
That mad brat.
That was interesting. You kind of like had this like
That mad. And then brat.
you did let your voice go dark at the end. That was really good. Okay, so that's something for you to practice. I know it's the first time here, and there's the stress of being up on stage, but you were really brave. And even though that was stressful, you still managed to get a really dark sound. You managed to go all the way down to D sharp 3 in pitch. I wonder how much further down you could go with your pitch if you do take the time to practice it and monitor it. So, sounds really like interesting what you can do with your voice. Just keep practicing at it, record your voice, listen back to it, and do the little tweaks as you go along. All right, Kit Kat?
Alright, thank you.
All right, you're really welcome. I hope it has been helpful. Hope to see you around the next workshops. And please, everyone, give a big round of applause to Kit Kat. Woo! All right. And last but not least, we'll have up on stage a person who wants to learn how to make their voices more feminine. If you want to make your voice more femme, jump in place. All right. Celestia, have you already been on stage before? Yes, no, I can't. I can hear you. No, no. All right, awesome. Come up on stage. Come on. Everyone, give a big applause to Celestia. Woo! Oh. Woo. All right. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome up on stage. So, Celestia, what should I call you? Nia, Celeste.
You can just call me Celeste.
All right, Celeste. I wonder where that reference comes from. Anyways,
I have no
let's
idea.
see. All right, so I got 6-minute timer running. Let's get started. So first of all, is this the first time? Is this the first time you come to one of these workshops?
Yes.
All right. Are you familiar with the terms vocal tract size, vocal fold mass, or pitch? Or is this completely alien to you?
Most of it's alien, admittedly.
Okay. Would you say that you've been able to gather enough information, or do you want me to do a rundown of this again?
Um, I, we don't have a whole lot of time, so I think I'm fine to just try
You're
it.
right. We don't need theory. Practice, practice. Okay, let's go. Celestia, give me a slide from your lowest pitch up to your highest pitch. Give it a try. Oh. Wow, all the way up here. Oh, we don't need to worry about your pitch. You got an amazing range. Great, that's first step done. Next step is whispers. Oh, for this, please make sure that your noise suppression is turned off on vrchat. And hopefully you don't have any software on your computer that causes noise suppression to happen. This might happen if you have like a branded headset or whatever. But I don't know.
It is off, and the activation threshold is very low.
Very good. Can you give me a very gentle whisper, like a hello? It's not coming through super great. What kind of mic are you using?
HyperX Cloud 2.
Does it have
try to get
native
closer.
software on the PC?
Maybe? I'm not sure. But can I try again?
Okay.
Like a little closer?
All right. Hello. Okay, I can hear it well enough. Should be good enough. Now from here, give me the sentence. Pat that cat on a dark whisper. Pretend you're Darth Vader.
Pat that cat. Pat that cat.
Okay.
No, pat that cat. It's okay. You can read that too if you want. So,
That mad brat.
really dark.
That mad brat.
Not bad, Raj.
Very good. Now, that's just a dark whisper. That sounds masculine.
That mad brat sat on that flat mad or masculine voice. Oh.
So now we want to make that whisper brighter. I just have you do this so that you have like a floor to start from. Now let's try this just on the word that. So
That.
that, brat. Try it out.
Okay. That.
Very good. That's mad brat.
That's mad, Brat.
Very good. Just like the other ones who move up on stage, you can also use your hand, put it lightly and gently on your neck, don't press down, and just try to feel for your Adam's apple as it moves up or down. So just rest your hand there and do again.
That.
That.
Okay. Sorry, it's hard for me not to laugh.
Take your time. I know there are funny sounds. Rare, rare. I know brightness can be quite funny to practice with. So
Okay.
take the time you need.
Okay, it's just hard to not smile.
Oh no, we're having fun. The horror. The horror.
Okay.
It's gonna be 5.
Okay.
So remember, Darth Vader.
That mad brat. Yeah. Yeah. Really dark, big.
Okay.
Awesome. And now we go small. That.
That. Very good. As you did this, did you feel the Adam's apple move up?
A little bit. My Adam's apple's also like not visible, but I felt like it.
It's
Felt
okay.
Like it.
It's okay. So see, like for example, like you have had testosterone exposure, and it hasn't necessarily made your Adam's apple super prominent. Mine was rather prominent as a result of testosterone. For some people, it's prominent, even if they don't have testosterone exposure. So it depends on the people. Yada yada. That's nerd stuff. Let's move on. That was a really bright. That's mad brats. Now I want you to try and read the whole sentence like this. So, that's mad brats sat on that flat mat, all in this really bright and small whisper.
Okay.
Give it a try. Yes.
Brad sat on that flat mat.
Now careful here. That mad brown sat on a flat note. So we kind of had like this, that mad brown sat on a flat note. You kind of like dropped a little bit here. So take your time, one word at a time, really gentle. Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
You got it. You did it well. You did it well. Yeah, I know. So the problem with rat is what? It's the R sound, isn't it? Right?
Arr.
Can you give me just a R? You're a pirate, but Darth Vader is technically a pirate in space, not really.
It's a
You're
space
missing
pirate.
It's a space pirate, all right? So what does the space pirate say?
Yar.
Yar.
All right, but what does the femme space pirate say?
Yar.
Slave, yar. Try it out.
Okay. Yar, 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 slay.
Very good. So as you go from this dark yar, you can focus on the R sound.
Yar.
The R sound itself can also be brightened. So you can do R. As you do this, yes, very good. You should feel your Adam's apple move up a little bit. Prominent or not, it is moving up. And your tongue will move up and hug the roof of your mouth a little bit more. Very good. And now, you can try yes. And now compare the two
Brat. Really dark.
and really bright. Yes, so you notice how much brighter that got?
Brat.
Beautiful. And now, that mad brat. Okay, we lost a bit of that enunciation there, so take your time to really enunciate things properly. That mad brat. That's very good. Now, your whispers might be a little bit loud, so we have that mad brat. We're going to try to make those a bit softer. So not that mad, but instead, still bright, but softer and quieter. Try it out. That's very good. Now, let's move away from whispers. Whispers are nice. You've practiced having this really bright whisper. That's really good. You kind of want to stay now in that same space where your Adam's apple is really high, where your tongue might be a little bit higher in your mouth as well. You just want to keep it there. Okay? Now, what I want to do is go for a pitch that can be both masculine or feminine. What's a good pitch that could work for this? Let's go for a G3. G3 can sound like this or like this. So it can be very versatile and really showcase a difference when we modify the brightness of our voices. So, can you mimic after me here? Awesome. So you have this. Let's try and make it softer. Very good. And now, that.
Okay, that's good. Hold on, it's gonna take some free power.
I know. Focus on the pitch and focus on how bright the that is. One step at a time. Dark to bright that, and then from whispered that into breathy that into full voiced that. That.
Okay.
Try it out.
And I'm trying to go to like G3 or just.
That's correct. G3.
I'm fine.
You're a D3. Da 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 da. It's okay. Take your time.
Okay. So I just hold on. Wait.
That's the right pitch. Okay. Now that mad brat.
That brat sat on
Yes.
that flat, mat.
Yes, that's it. You did this. That mad Brad sat on that flat mat. It's a bit hesitant, a little bit shaky, but it's a feminine voice
I was
nonetheless.
nervous.
That's it. No, you, what? That was great. What do you mean? That mad
I
Brad
don't know.
sat. All right, so now all we want to do is change the pitch a little bit. So let's try this. Still in the same position. That mad Brad sat on that flat mat. Start to go gently, gradually up in pitch.
Okay.
Right.
So
Give it a try.
So that. Okay, hold on. That.
Softer.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That. Brat. Wait, no. Hold on. Pause.
That mad Brad.
Hold on. It's hard to go
That
chromatically.
mad Brad. I know, it can be difficult.
Right. My brain wants to do do re mi fa sol la ti do.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. No, that might be a bit too much of a step. Okay, let's go just back here. Okay, let's go here. I'm instead gonna give you an exercise for you to practice here instead of doing like this whole like going up in pitch, right? So what we've done so far is that mad Brad sat on that flat mat. That's what you've done, right? So far. That was really good. That was your bright voice, a bit shaky, a bit unstable, but that was a bright femme voice. That was, yes, monotonous, so kind of like robot sounding, but that's okay. The core qualities are there. Your voice was soft. It was a G3, not necessarily a femme pitch, but it's good to be in, it's like a high enough pitch to be in a femme range. And most importantly, your voice was really bright. Okay? But that was only on one pitch, and it was a bit shaky and unstable. So for you here, there's some practice to be done to like kind of keep that monotonous pitch stable. What you could then do next on your own time is to do, okay, you're like, no, that G3 is fine. Okay, let's see. Maybe you can practice higher pitches and lower pitches from there. So, G3, we can go up to G sharp 3. And then you could do that mad brat sat on that flat mat, and then go A3, that mad brat sat on that flat mat, A sharp 3, that mad brat sat on that flat mat, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Although that's more something for you to practice on your own time. Become familiar with brightness at any given pitches that you can find in the femme voice. I would recommend anywhere from like D3 up to, I don't know, C4, and maybe a little bit higher if you feel like you want to challenge yourself a bit. And then once you're comfortable with all these pitches, well, you've taught your brain to have some muscle memory at any given pitches in that range for you to then move up and down in that range. And then it makes it easier for you to keep your voice bright and stable up there. Okay? All right. Well, that's pretty much all the advice I have for you with the allotted time we had. Do you have any questions, Celeste?
I don't know. I still wanted to try the chromatic thing. I was feeling peggy.
Okay, sure. Let's give it a try. But you get one try.
Okay.
No pressure.
Okay.
All right.
First,
First, yeah.
Give me G3.
Yes, I give you G3. Give me a sec. Here. That.
Okay.
A bit higher. Da 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 da. That.
Wait, no,
That. It's F free. F sharp free. We're so close, but that works. That's good enough.
Okay.
That.
Brad, Mike, I can't do it. All right, I'll try it.
It's okay. All right,
It
practice
wasn't
on your own. I know. Either way, you did really great on that one attempt that we did together. That was really good. Just practice it on your own.
Okay.
You're doing great, okay? Like, I know you have the pressure of the stage. This is the first time you practice this. It takes weeks, months, sometimes years for people to get there. So, take things slow. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. The slower and the easier you go, the easier it'll be for you to practice your voice on the long term. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Everyone, give a big round of applause to Celeste. Woo!
If I could curtsy, I would. But I don't have
You don't have that. All right. It's fine. I'll curtsy for you for sure. All right. All right. So now, our workshop is coming, unfortunately, to an end. end. So first of all, I gotta thank both of you, Rory and V, for hosting the workshop with me. But before we wrap up, we might have some questions from the audience over at Discord or over at Twitch. So what do we got? Question. Yes. I'll just first answer the questions from Twitch and Discord. Do we have any questions?
I have one on Discord. I don't know if there's any on Twitch.
Okay. I'll take the Discord question.
Okay. Pull it up really quick. What safe ways are there to engage oropharyngeal closure, OPC? And I'm guessing an explainer of what that is.
Okay, so OPC stands for, indeed, oropharyngeal closure. So when we do the exercises to brighten our voices, we actually generally tend to do this kind of automatically. Some people don't do it, so we might want to like be more specific in the terms of the practice when it comes to brightening the voice further. That's something that I would do that is a bit more advanced if someone really struggles with the sound. I tend to go more for like sound exploration based things, but you can get more technical if you want. I try to avoid this because we only have so much time on stage, but OPC is something I don't have a slide for, but I can show you really quickly. So if you look at the slide here, you can see a few things. The pharynx here is the tube at the back of the mouth, and it's one of the things that we can modify to change our voice. The laryngopharynx is the part of the pharynx that is right next to the larynx, which is right below there. We can't see it here, but the laryngopharynx is here. And so we can modify its size, for example, by mimicking the Kermit voice. Like, for example, the Kermit voice happens due to the root of the tongue moving further back and kind of constricting this area, for example. Now, another voice, such as the Stitch voice, it sounds more like this, or Hannah means family means that no one gets left behind. There's one where, instead, it's not necessarily the tongue that moves back, although in the case of Stitch voice, yes, the tongue moves a little bit, but you still hear like this, like, noticeable, like, brightness that comes here from the back of the mouth. You hear it quite well in the Stitch voice here, which is like a really emphasized version of it. And so we basically have walls at the back of the mouth that can close in or out. There is no unsafe way to do OPC as far as I know. I mean, you're only like closing or opening the back walls of the mouth unless you have like tonsils issues that could hurt you. There's no way that you can hurt your voice here. Although, one way I like to practice OPC is to give people, you know, the mimicry of like a Stitch voice or an Elmo voice, because these voices will engage that closure at the back of the mouth, and then you're going to want to kind of like try to speak with it and maybe move away a little bit from that tongue posture to a more neutral, more relaxed tongue position. So I like to go through this with the mimicry a bit more. At a certain time, I used to teach like the vampire hiss, like the cat hiss, which uses the pharyngeal walls at the back of the mouth, but people generally confuse it with like a hiss with their tongue, or sometimes worse, a hiss with their vocal folds, because, you know, they kind of sound similar. So yeah, I would generally recommend to like do some voice mimicry if you can. If not, you can try the vampire hiss, although you're going to have to be really careful not to use your vocal folds in that case, because using the vocal folds in that case would just have you whisper really harshly, like, and that will be really tiring on your voice. So one thing you do is like do the vampire hiss, but like have some voice through it, to have that OPC engaged. Because if you have the voice happen at the same time, you know that you're not doing a whisper most of the times. So yeah, here's my advice for you to practice OPC if you want to do more of your own. Hope that helps. Okay, that was, yes. Okay, I'll answer the Twitch question then. Go ahead. Wow, you're asking for a whole lesson. Okay, jokes aside, first thing you should do in the morning would be to do some vocal warm-up. So just do the softies like we did at the start of the session to get your voice ready and prepped up for the day. I would recommend doing the lip trill. It's the one that has the most intraoral pressure, or if you can, have like a straw and water, that's also a really good one. So just go the goal is not necessarily to go for the highest pitch. It's to just warm up the voice a little bit so that we can like help the blood flow reach the vocal folds better and get the hydration process and the nutrients properly distributed to there. And also helps clear the mucus that is normally a little bit thicker in the start of your voice day. So this is the first thing you should be doing. So warming up your voice by doing some vocal warm-ups. And then when it comes to fem voice, that's a whole thing because I do not know where you are at in your voice practice. I do not know what exercises would make sense for you, given where you are at in terms of your voice. So that's why I kind of like jokingly said like, hey, you're asking for like a whole personal lesson here, but that's kind of what it is. You could try and apply what I've done so far, like doing the brightness scales. But again, if that's something you've already practiced, it's hard to tell like if that will be even useful for you. So yeah, other than trying to apply what you've seen on stage and using your own critical listening skills and, well, your own judgment of your own voice to pick out what exercise would be best, other than the warm-up, I can't give you any, like, really precise exercises. It wouldn't really make sense, not knowing where your voice starts from. But at the very least, do warm up your voice, try to do some of the things we've done in the workshop, and see where that goes from here. Hope that helps. Okay, I'll be wrapping up soon, but we had a question from the audience. Rain, you had a question. Can you come closer?
I was more wanting to ask about an opinion. So I started taking testosterone, lately, and I wanted to know your opinion on how, well you think it is doing. Because this is like my normal like vibe, and I can definitely hear a difference to how it used to be. Like I can hear a lot of vibration. Um, this is how I used to sound. It takes a lot more effort, and I have to make it sound more brighter. Like how to do a friend voice, you have to make it sound brighter and stuff. Um, but I also wanted to know your opinion on what it sounds like with deeper voice. Like, is this doing like a good job, or am I putting too much weight into it?
No, actually, I would say the first thing that what was noticeable to me with your voice was the weight. Like your voice was kind of like up here, and you even like kind of had like your voice kind of like go a little bit thicker. So like that's probably like a tell of your vocal folds getting a bit thicker from testosterone exposure. So that has definitely had an impact on your voice. Now, would I say like then you went for a darker voice at some point?
Like would you say like I pushed my voice too far?
I would say no. That was like probably what I expect for most masc voices. Like perhaps going for a lower pitch and kind of like trying to reduce the intonation, at least at first. I mean, like you can still try and aim for like
A masc voice that is like well intonated, like well up in the higher pitches, but like most masc voices, at least in terms of like social cues, are expected to like kind of chill out at like lower pitches. What kind of lower pitches can you achieve? Like, can you give me like your lowest pitch, like resonance aside, that is? Ooh, it's like a solid C3, okay? Can you make that C3 sound heavier? So, ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, good. Oh, 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 oh. And then can you make that sound a bit darker? Oh, 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 oh. Good. Can you say the words pat that cat? Okay, put that cat.
I would definitely say that here at the lower pitches, you still might want a bit more weight. If anything, that weight is very present at the higher pitches, then it kind of like gives me already like very androgynous vibes by default, even with you not attempting anything with darkness. When you do add darkness to your voice, it is still at a higher pitch. It's not like the lowest pitch you've given me here, like C3. So I would say that you still would want maybe to like practice making those lower pitches a bit more usable, like in terms of having them kind of like align in terms of weight. Other than that, I think you're on a really good path. Like the first thing that struck me again was the heaviness of your voice. Like it sounded like really buzzy. Like perhaps you still have like your larynx quite high, but like as soon as you went darker, that buzziness was eliminated, and I was hearing like a slightly higher pitched masc voice, but like a very textured and quite dark masc voice anyways. So I would say you're on a good path. I wonder, how long have you been taking testosterone for?
I've been on it for about 4 months now.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well, I wonder how it's gonna like evolve in the future. But like already, I hear quite some change of your voice. Any practice you've done so far in your voice?
Because I know I actually had a lesson with you privately once.
Oh my God.
Struggled a lot.
Did you have the same name on Discord?
It was a year ago. You probably don't remember me.
Okay. Yeah, it might have been a while. Okay.
But it was I struggled a lot with pitch because of how high my voice was. So I wanted to ask you now, on what you thought it sounded like. Because I know I struggled a lot, so I wanted to see what like your opinion was, since you're more of a professional with this kind of stuff. I wanted to ask you, because asking other people that know kind of stuff is like, yeah, it's nice opinions, but then I'm like, I wanted to like ask like an actual person like you, be like, okay, let's see what your thought,
Okay, you've already had a lesson with me, yes? Then in that case, please do shoot me a message in DMs on Discord so I can like give you a better feedback here than just like being on stage here. Make things a bit easier. Also, yeah, like I do not remember, but like that maybe shows how much your voice has warped and changed. So if anything, that's great news. But yeah, no, I can understand like that feeling of, hey, like you're around trans people and it can be hard to like feel like, are you not like hogboxing me, or are you not like being nice with my voice? But no, I assure you, like in that case, your voice definitely has gotten heavier. I would say the intonation is a little bit like, well, a bit too colorful for what I would expect from most masc voices, and still leaning quite bright still. I think with behavior modifications, going for a darker sound would really showcase how heavy your voice has gotten, and maybe like hanging around lower pitches a bit, which are now part of your voice. Like I don't think I've ever heard you do a C3 before, so yeah, if anything, like that has improved. But yeah, I hope all of that feedback has helped you so far. But do send me a message in Discord. We can follow up that discussion there. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, and I'm not going to take any more questions, I am afraid. Sorry, everyone, but we are going quite over time. All right, everyone, please thank Purpose Unknown V and Rory Bell. Whoa, I lost my phone. Oh, it didn't fall on the floor. I'm so lucky. Okay, so everyone give a big round of applause to V and Rory for helping me co-host this workshop. Woo! Oh, that was a real clap over there. All right. Well, then I'll be wrapping up this workshop. Everyone say bye to Twitch and bye to Discord. Bye, Twitch. Bye, Discord. Bye-bye. All right, and now I'll be wrapping up this workshop. So I hope y'all enjoyed this workshop here. Let me do the end of the blurble thingy thing. Hey, my name is Savvy. I teach voice feminization as well as
Voice masculinization.
I also teach stuff such as voice acting, singing, and even a funny thing called human beatboxing with sounds such as... So if you want to learn any of this, you can always shoot me a message over at Discord at savvy_sav, all in lowercase letters. I do offer public or private lessons. If you want to do some more focused work with me, you can message me and we can discuss stuff over there for scheduling. Other than that, I have a Discord server. It's called Scientifically Augmented Voice. I do public lessons there from time to time, so you get to have even more stuff. If the classes over here are not enough, you can have a little bit extra practice, or at least hearing people practice and shadowing. So you could like ask questions during the lessons as they happen. These happen only on Discord, but if you want to join that Discord, you can click on my bio and join my server. Scientifically Augmented Voice. There's a link right there. All right. With that being said, I'm going to wrap this one up. I'll see you all again on the next Sunday. In the meantime, please take care of yourselves, take care of your voice, stay hydrated, and keep up the good voice work. Y'all have a great one. See you next Sunday. Bye, everyone.